Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap. Tim, I know, back by
I think we
unpopular
might be in the Guinness Book of World's Records on this one.
for how long it takes to tell a story.
The world's longest radio tease.
Right. This, and I'm not even sure how to do this. Are we going to pick it up where we
Yeah,
left off on this story,
I
or
remember where we left off. So
we are. We're not starting all over again.
if you
Oh, okay.
recall, we were
Yeah,
following the story in the Chicagoist by Benji Lipsman,
sure.
and where we left off, if you want to do a quick recap, we're on paragraph 3 here.
I mean, is this going to run? Is this going to run as part of telling the rest of the story,
Yes,
or
so we'll lead up to 3 segments, and then this will be the fourth. But
will the three segments the three segments have to do with this story, or no?
yes, because it took us 3 segments to get
Okay.
two paragraphs
So
on
okay.
this.
So fine. I don't
So
have to recap.
where we left off, the crazy Howard McGee. If you want to do a recap of that, and then we'll enter this final paragraph.
Okay. All right. So yeah, crazy Howard McGee had made an obscene gesture, and I didn't even like him on our air anyway. And I decided that I was going to that I complained about it on the air, and I didn't do the segment that I was supposed to do, which was I thought was an evergreen segment, which was supposed to be a name that player White Sox player's tune with Nancy Faust, which we had recorded earlier. I mean, can you believe the reasons people get fired? I mean, you think Dan Bernstein got fired because he got angry over a fish that he caught? I mean, or our very own dangerous Dan McNeil, who got fired for saying that Maria Taylor looked like she could be dressed for the adult film awards as the host, not even as an adult film star. It's the host. Got fired for that. But yeah, so I didn't do that segment, and somebody complained about it. And I think I know who, and complained to the news director. And I said, I was like Trump before his time. I was Trump before his time, because I said "F you" to a producer who wanted me to run that Nancy Faust thing, and I got called into the producers to the news director's office, and I was suspended for that. And the news director was actually crying while
Wow.
she suspended me because she knew it was kind of wrong. But anyway, that was the first.
Did you say
suspension.
something about her mother? Or
She was great. It was just terrific. So, but that's the first suspension. The second suspension happens when months later, this is after being there 18 years and having a perfect record. All of a sudden, I got one suspension, and then I get the second suspension was I got assigned to the auto show to do a feature about people bringing their cars and their own cars and talking about their own cars, and they were also going to drive around in a new Toyota Land Cruiser or something like that outside the auto show. So as a joke, just to loosen people up, I said out there as we're taping this, "Hey, can I key your car for you?" Okay. And they'd laugh and say no, and I wouldn't do that. I did this with a couple of people. I mean, one woman had like this beautiful red Jaguar. Yeah, sure, I was gonna, because I'm insane. I'm gonna do that. But then, like,
can I rewind a little bit here?
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
was the segment as you were outside in the parking lot seeing what people pulled up in.
It was like actually on the street across from McCormick Place, but it's right next to McCormick Place, and
So they were parking on the street
they
and
were,
going
well,
into
it
the.
was okay to park. It was fine. It was kind of bucolic there. There was a median that had a bunch of plants and everything like that there, and that will become instructive later in the story here. Oh boy. If
Sure, but
we
I can't believe that there was once street parking outside of McCormick Place.
it wasn't, and I love to distract us so we can take this story in another direction for another 5 weeks.
No, it reminds me of when you used to be able to park right in
Oh
the
yeah.
center of the airport there and walk across the street to the ticket counter.
I parked like I was the president, parking right next to the plane and getting on years ago. Anyway, the so then like the third guy, this guy was a fan of Brandmeier. I mean, you could, so he knew the
Oh,
kinds
that
of
tells you
wackets.
everything.
Well, right, and he was like, and the guy sold prosthetic devices. So I thought like he had been in The Fugitive or something. I don't know. But anyway, and he had this 2 or 3 year old blue Toyota little truck, I guess. It did have a little dent on the side. And so I do the bit with him. I go, "Oh, you want me to key your car?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, yeah, go ahead." And I go, second time, I, you don't want me to, you want me to key your car? He goes, "Yeah, go ahead, key my car." Third time, no, look, you understand, I'm going to key your car right now. It's just, and I'm thinking, he says, "Yeah, just go ahead and key the car." And I'm thinking, I'm weighing myself, what I think he really wants me to do it. There's a little dent here. He's going to get a lot of publicity. It's fine. I'll do with a little scratch on the car. I say it a fourth time again. I finally say a fifth time. I say, "Yeah, just go ahead and do it." So I key it. Okay. Producer over that screams. This woman screams when I do it. It's all on video. And I go,
Sure.
and the guy whose car it is laughing. And I go, "I mean, you're laughing. I just keyed your car." He says, "That's okay. Insurance will pay for it." And I said, "No, I don't think insurance is going to pay. Your insurance is going to pay for you deliberately having your car keyed." He says, "Oh, not my insurance, your insurance." And I go, "Oh my God. Okay. All right. That wasn't the worst of it. Okay. That's not the worst." And I'm not even sure that's the
Not
reason.
only that, they're going to take out the dent.
So that wasn't the worst of it. We then get in this new Toyota Land Cruiser or whatever for a test drive. And there's a camera guy in there. And this guy whose car I had keyed is just having the greatest time in the world. And it wasn't insane. I mean, he was a salesman of prosthetic devices. Okay. But he was he was a normal guy, Brandmeier fan, kind of.
How did you know? How did you know all this about him?
Because I talked to him before, while I was interviewing him. Okay.
Okay.
And then so we go in the car, and all of a sudden this guy's driving crazy on this street. And he even takes the car over the median and I'm going like, "This is crazy." The camera guy's about to say, and he did say, I'm out of here. This is ridiculous." And I had the presence of mind, because I think it was maybe the thing that saved me when I got it to my arbitration hearing and was trying to get all my money back after they tried to fire me. I said, the last thing you see before the tape stops is me going, "Am I being punked?" So I thought this was part of a whole bit that somebody had pulled on me. Okay. So I wind up getting.
Well, I wouldn't know. I want to go back to the percent. Did he have like samples in his car?
I don't know. I never got that far with the guy.
Because then you could have done some shtick. You could have said, "Hey, look, here's a car that won't cost you an arm and a leg."
Oh, look, you know how much I just want to go back to the auto show and relive that whole thing. Just give me a memo on this, Tim. So I wind up having to they cancel. I was supposed to go inside the auto show and do more interviews or something like that. I was called back to the station. There was a new news director. He had just started that's a whole part of the story too. He had just started, like a couple of weeks before. And
so you were called back to the station immediately? You got out of the land?
They brought me back to the station.
Did they helicopter you back?
Exactly. Medevaced. Okay. My career was on life support. And they suspended me. And so 6 days later, they summoned me back. And in a 45-second meeting, which is kind of like a record, especially for an 18-and-a-half-year employee, this is what you got. The news director sitting there in the third floor conference room with my agent there and somebody else, I think, and a sergeant at arms, whatever. The news director, the new news director, this is a new news director, not the nice one who had suspended me months earlier. She wound up getting fired. But this his hand is shaking. And he reads a prepared statement saying, "This is a dismissal hearing or notice, whatever." And I got dismissed. And to make a long story short, I wound up taking a job at Channel 5, but I had my arbitration hearing because I wanted to get all the money that they owed me. Okay. And I won the arbitration. I won it. And I think I've told part of this of how stupid the news director was there. He thought had trapped me in the arbitration, thought he had really nailed me. I may have told this. We're sitting there and I'm being, I'm a witness on my own behalf, and there's a court reporter there, and there's the arbitrator, and there's the attorney for Fox is there. And during my direct testimony, my union attorney asked me just, how did I get assigned to this? And I said, oh, I was assigned by Carmen Gonzalez. And the news director said, and who's Carmen Gonzalez? And I go, a producer. And when I said that, all of a sudden I noticed the news director, who was sitting like 5 feet from me, furiously scribbling something down. And I'm wondering, did I just say something? Did I just kill myself somehow? And when it came time to the cross-examination of me, the young woman attorney, who like during a break I had offered like half of my Snickers bar because she looked like she was hungry. Anyway, she says, at the direction of the news director, now you testified that you were assigned to this by Carmen Gonzalez, isn't that correct? And I go, yes. And she goes, you said that Carmen Gonzalez was a producer, didn't you? And I said, yeah. And she goes, isn't it true that Carmen Gonzalez was the executive producer for special projects? And I go, yeah, I guess so. That was the gotcha, that I didn't know that. This idiot, this freaking stupid idiot news director, this fungible turkey. What a jackass. Thought he had nailed me on an insignificant piece like that. This dumb douchebag.
Yeah.
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
And that's the Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.